embrace this and say, how can I connect with you? And more importantly, it's not just about, 200 people here? I don't know how many people. But it's not about the number of people in this room. It's about the people that we're connected to. So if I can do a good job as a business to connect with you, then I can connect to the people you're connected to. And that's the idea of this audience with an audience of audiences, because collectively we probably reach 100,000 people, maybe more. So it's about talking to you and through you at the same time. That requires a definition. That requires a different way to tell your story. That requires a different way to bring you in, to grow and learn together. The idea over time was that we would have a one-to-many relationship, broadcast marketing or branding. And then in the 90s, we had that idea of one-to-one relationship marketing. I don't necessarily think that we did a good job of that, because they defined one-to-one engagement as an email blast or a newsletter. But the reality is it's about one-to-one to many. So if I could design an engagement strategy that could connect with you right now and hopefully have you share this moment with the people you're connected to, that's one-to-one to many. That requires architecture, that requires design, but more importantly, it requires an understanding that how I would connect with you in the past is not at all how I should connect with you now and in the future. This is the beginning of how we bring about change in the company, is understanding that our employees are connected, our customers are connected, and that management doesn't see this at all because they don't use any of these technologies. Many of the businesses I work with, the executives don't even read their own email. They have assistants. So we try to tell them that social media is changing the world, and they don't see it. So that's not the right argument to have. The idea is to develop an internal innovation strategy and an external innovation strategy that's based on purpose, design, resolve, and reward. That requires architecture. In fact, in many ways, I believe that we're not only change agents, but we are becoming experience architects. We have to start by saying, what does that experience look like? How does that impact our business? A lot of this, when you hear words like big data or listening, a lot of that information we take for granted. Let me tell you how big data is being used in the company today. It's not. It could be. It's not just about applying your resources and technology to see what people are saying or how they're feeling. It's about taking that and applying it to business opportunities. And that's how executives think. That's how they make decisions. So part of our strategy is to invest in this idea of a culture that is both open to innovation and co-creation. So it starts by making the case. Why should we change? Well, it starts first with the reality that not only are your customers changing, but so are your employees. And the more that they connect, the more they become the center of their own experience, the more that they become empowered, the less you're able to connect with them. Think about this for a moment. I study influence for many, many years. And I'm not talking about clout. I mean real influence. What was it that made a business influential over the last 100 years? What made a business influential was that they could out-scream you, because they could spend more money than you to push their message at you. They controlled the media, they controlled the networks, therefore they controlled how you perceive them. They were influential. But now, as you and I become connected, if we share interests, for example, I have to imagine that we share an interest in social media. Collectively, the connections between you and me is stronger than any potential influence a business has ever had. That's why it overthrows governments. That's why it changes processes and services and products, forces companies to recall products, because the collective voice of you and me is influential. That's the number one reason businesses need to pay attention.